well, two layers of recourse, right? So the first is select committees. So occasionally you'll see a Priti Patel or a Boris Johnson hauled in front of a select committee and grilled. And it makes for really good viewing for political nerds like me, because I'll just sit there with my bag of popcorn going like, oh, yeah, that's it. You
You
skewer that
get,
motherfucker.
you get him. Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
one.
So like seeing like Yvette Cooper in there, like
Yeah, she's
skewering
brilliant.
Patel is like, oh, it's delicious. It's mwah. Um, but it's, you know, it's relatively, it's a minor affair. Like it might make the news on Channel 4 News, but it's not, it doesn't shift the needle really. The only thing that we have as recourse actually is the election. And that sort of comes back to what you were saying earlier about like, you know, if you act a certain way in business or if you're a teacher, then there's always repercussions for things. In politics, it's the most important thing in the fucking country. It's like how we run the country and laws and getting people to abide by them. And yet when they step outside of that legal framework themselves, what do we hear? It's like, well, you know,
No.
if you don't like it, vote us out. Yeah.
Imagine a CEO of a company or a teacher, whoever, who is utterly shit in their job, who is like dashed. Say it's a company. I gambled with my shitty project with my company, and I've hemorrhaged 4% of the profits on a yearly basis. Oh, and I've made a massive chunk of the workforce leave as well.
Mm.
But you know what? I'm going to stick around for the next 3.5 years because that's just how we do things. No,
Yeah.
not the case. It's, they bugger off, but there is no recourse. There's none at all. And this is where we're in really scary territory. We've still got ages left
I
of this,
know.
essentially.
Well,
Ages.
I don't know. There's a rumor that they're going to do a general election next year. I don't know how
I have
confirmed
heard that. Mm.
or not it is, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they do, especially if we do end up ejecting Johnson from number 10. Because then there'll be all the arguments from Labour saying like you've got no mandate, you know,
Mhm.
this nobody ever elected this prime minister, etc., etc. So I could see that happening, and especially if they continue. Well, I don't know. I was about to say, especially if they continue to slide in the polls, then they might want to. But I mean, will they? If they're not, they've been 9 points behind for about 6 months now, so
That's
maybe
why I
not.
think they'll do everything they can to avoid it.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Mm.
Um,
I'm excited for the May elections. I say I'm excited. I'm hopeful for the May elections.
me
I
too.
think this could be a little litmus test to see if anything is actually reaching the ears of the electorate.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because things have sort of flipped the other way. Like, for a long time, whatever Labour tried, whatever messaging, slogans, PR opportunities, nothing seemed to shift the needle. No matter how bad the warnings or the actual realities of Brexit became, nothing seemed to shift the needle. They were always about 7 points or 11 points
Yeah,
behind.
but do you know why, Aid? Because sorry to say this, but Labour's marketing is shit. And again, I say this from a marketing standpoint. Some of the stuff I saw, like Keir Starmer pictured in a gilet in a field with some like vacuous slogan that could literally belong to any other party, including the Tories. It means nothing. Like they've got some really good policies. Polly Toynbee, she's Guardian
Mm.
journalist. She wrote an awesome article like saying they've got some brilliant stuff here, but it's not hitting home. And I read this article, I'm like, where do you find out about these policies? Because these are awesome, really good stuff. And this is why I wish people could actually like it should be mandatory reading that this is a policy that these are our top 15 policies. These are the ones we're going to prioritize when we get into power. And I wish people knew about them because some of Labour's these are great. And guess what? They're not going to sting people on their taxes. Do you know who's getting stung on taxes? All of us,
Mm.
mostly just the working class, mostly just like the young people, mostly those earning PAYE versus those that just got shed loads because of properties and capital gains and all the rest of it. Those are the people getting hammered right now, and more so than any other time since the Second World War. So
Yeah.
now we're paying. So don't worry. Please don't be scared that your taxes are going to fly through the roof if a Labour government comes in. Because actually, if you looked at, I don't know if this has changed since their last manifesto, but the higher rate of income tax, like they don't do a good job of communicating this. That was going to work out if you earn over 80 grand.
Mm.
I think it was, again, I need to double check this, but it was something very small, something like for every £1,000 over 80k that you earn, you'd pay an extra £50 of tax with
Yeah.
Labour's high income tax. Now, who's against that? If you're earning plus 80k, like 50 quid in 1,000, you're not going to miss. And also, I don't mind paying higher tax if I can see public services getting better.